86% of people are underwater that bought a home in the last 5 years, and this is going with monthly data of all the homes that have sold on MLS. Less than 5% have some sort of value there, which probably not after factor in inflation.
See, I mean, you look at the government, it's like 45% of the economy. Even Remax, of all people, I think it was Remax and Bloomberg that came out and said real estate they forecast is like 30 to 40% of the economy. So you add the two together, you're at like 85% of the economy is just government and real estate. Like, what the fuck is left after that?
They came out, right? They came out with that thing that says Ireland produced more than Canada last year, and Ireland's not a producing nation even. Like,
yeah, I saw that.
and
It's
so
mostly
Ireland
financial.
it's in tech, right? So Ireland is smaller by 2,000 square kilometers than New Brunswick, and they produced more goods than Canada. And their population's 1/5 of the size or something, right? It's not even like they have more people too. Like the population's only a fraction of Canada too. So like Ireland's got the worst restrictive like zoning laws and everything. So it's like it's not easy to like produce stuff in Ireland either. So
that's just crazy. Well, I was gonna ask you as well, like the condo market is like completely I know it's not your area of specialty because you're in Niagara, you're not in Toronto, but like, are you looking at the that's going on in Vancouver and Toronto? Because I'm looking at it and like you've had multiple bankruptcies of different developers and towers in both cities. I mean, even the one on Yonge Street, I think that was one of the big ones that is just stopped right now. And it's something I can't remember how much that's going to cost. But like, are you starting to see that basically banks are starting to cut back on lending?
So I don't deal with a lot of condos, but what I do see is all these developments, even in Niagara, there's some that are like the ground was broken and they're just sitting there and they went bankrupt, and it was publicly available information. There's signs like that have like faded. They're just sitting there. Actually, if you come to Ontario, we'll go on a tour. I think I told you that. But they're just sitting there doing nothing. Like there's signs like coming soon condos, and they've been there for like 2 years and they're all faded. Like nobody's like, they're not even offering the pre-sales on them. I just saw one in Vancouver, I think it was, or in Surrey, and they're doing a 25% discount sale on Friday on May 31st. I don't know if it's Friday, but it's May 31st. One day only, 25% off all new homes. They call them homes, they're more like condos. But
built?
Like the condo market, I don't know if they're built or not. It's like Belvedere.ca's company. I checked the website.
I've heard of that company.
Yeah, it was legitimate. Like it was someone posted on X, and I was like, let me verify this before I start beaking off about it. So yeah, like it was legitimate to trade on their website. And again, I haven't studied the condo numbers almost recently because it's such old news now. It's like just like telling you like the sky's blue or whatever. Like, yeah, the condo market's screwed. Like they've had like the lowest number of pre-sales in like 20 years or whatever. Like it's done. And the developers, though, I was at a meeting with a few people there and they knew what they were talking about, the commercial side of things.
You know what's worse than dealing with website issues? Dealing with them when your client's breathing down your neck and traffic is spiking. That's why I recommend Kinster, managed hosting for WordPress that takes headaches off your plate. If you manage websites for clients, run an online business, or want your site to actually run like it lives in 2025, then Kinster is what you need. Websites run up to 200% faster with edge caching and Google's premium tier network. You get support from WordPress pros, no bots, no scripts, 24/7. What about their dashboard? It's way easier, it's way better than cPanel, and you can get back to managing your site with ease again. Don't just take my word for it. NASA, TripAdvisor, Indeed all use and trust Kinster. If your hosting feels like it's holding you back, then it's time to level up. Switch to Kinster and get your first month free. They'll even handle the migration for you. Links below in the description and the pinned comment. Thanks to Kinster for sponsoring this video.
I was at a meeting with a few people there and they knew what they were talking about, the commercial side of things. And they were like talking about how like this developer's coming out with something below, $950 per square foot for a new development, which is, record to the low side for recent years. And they're like, how are they doing that? And, they're talking about like adding more floors or making smaller units. And it's like, they're already small enough, but like the developers are still trying to hang on to how can we still make this work with what we're invested into this project and the land and all this, the development fees. And they're, so how do we do this? And now they're like, well, okay, we thought we had a solution, but now this guy over here is selling them for even less per square foot. So, and like, honestly, who would buy a condo? I'll tell you right now, like, if you're going to buy a pre-sale condo in Toronto or Vancouver right now, you're insane, unless there's no money involved in that deal. Because first of all, who wants to wait 5-6 years to move in if you are legitimately moving in? Who would invest? There's like a good chance that that development's going to go belly up and your deposit's going to be gone. And you're right. So it's like, who in the right mind? And why would you do? But why would you buy one? Not because you want a secure, sound investment, because you want to speculate on housing. But who is going to speculate? Like, are you going to honestly buy a condo in a big city thinking it's going to be worth $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 more in 5-6 years? No, you know it's not going to be worth it. You know that it's still like a long road. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I know what needs to happen. We need like massive bankruptcies and failures in these developments, and even the detached market, and someone to come in and buy them at 40-50% of the land or the whole site, and come back and then build those homes for 60% or 75% of, or sell them for what they could have or what they were planning to sell them. That's what we need. That's how you need to, you need to cleanse the system. You need to flush out all the crap, and all the crap is everything that's sitting there right now. People who want $400,000 for a lot in Niagara, they're all builders that bought them, small builders. They bought them, and they're like, well, I'm going to sell the house for 1.2 million. And they're like, well, I won't be able to, I can't sell a 2,000 square foot detached for 1.2 million now. Well, I'm going to sell the lot. Hopefully some other sucker will buy this and just build their own home, and they can build a home for 800,000-900,000 and they'll be square. It's like, no one's buying it because they can go buy another home for 800,000-900,000 that's even bigger. So yeah, it's just, that's what needs to happen, and we'll see. But you're going to see a lot more condo developments fail and developers go belly up. Like, they have to, right? Unless prices do go up or sales start or people start speculating. But I just don't see how that's going to happen given the economic climate these days.
Well, yeah, even the TD economics person was saying that 100,000 jobs were going to be lost, and that follows like an RBC economist who said last month that 200,000 jobs were going to be lost over the second half of this year. So it doesn't look good at all. And how overpriced are these new homes, like, compared to the residential used? Like, is it like 20-30% that they're more expensive, these new homes?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's not a lot for sale right now because none of the builders are building because there's no buyers. But you're looking at, say, a 2,000 square foot detached, and like, honestly, a builder cannot build that for less than $1 million. It seems like they're a million to maybe 1.1, maybe certain builders 950, but you can go buy a 5-year-old detached in a similar neighborhood for 850. So it's a good probably 20% difference in what you can buy. So yeah, there's definitely a difference there, and I don't see why someone would be willing to pay a builder premium when they can go down the street and get something that the basement may be finished and the fence is built and everything else, right? So, and it's, you know what, this whole thing, and I've talked about, I always say this, is all based on greed, right? So, and I want to tell you like a little timeline of events with the greed that I saw. Greed is contagious, right? It's like a drug. It's like the more you have, the more money you make, the more you want. And money's like the drug, I guess, but greed is the symptom. And so, like, when I first started, and again, the house prices were what, 200,000, 200,000 or something back in, the mid 2000s. People would, they would make, like, after like a few years, they'd come back, they'd have to sell their house for whatever reason, and these weren't speculators, these were end users, and they'd be up like 10 or 20,000, and they'd be happy, and they wouldn't be like, oh, that's it. They're just like, hey, I'm up a little bit, I'm not losing money, this is great, I'm happy, right? And then there came the time, 10 years later, they'd be up 100 grand, and now you're probably looking at some speculators in this mix of people I'm talking about, and they'd be like, all right, yeah, it's okay, it's pretty good, Then we get to the point, and this is like crazy. These people, and again, you're talking about people from like usually the GTA, and they bought in Niagara, and they made like 200,000-300,000 on this house over like a few years, and they're like, what's my house worth, John? And they say they paid, 400, and it's worth 700. Oh, that's it? No, I gotta wait until it's $1 million. Like, are you kidding? Like, and their mentality is like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm gonna talk to another agent because this guy is like obviously not telling me what I want to hear here. Like, and they're like, I'm not selling that. I can't make 300 grand. Are you, like, my people in Toronto would laugh at me. And this is like the mentality of people, and still to this day, there's still so many people out there that are like, well, it was worth 800,000 a couple of years ago, and now it's like, I'm not going to sell it now. I'm not going to take a loss. Now they're like, know that it was worth more. So now there's that group of people that don't want to take a loss either. So you have like just greed. This greed is still driving people. And how do you change their mentality, right? Well, with fear, right? They need a good slap. Like, okay, your house is gonna be worth 500,000 now because you were so stupid, and you're gonna lose to the bank because you're leveraged everywhere else. And I think the greedy people at the end are the ones that are gonna lose the most, which is, that's fine, right? So that's the kind of the way the world should work.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. And I can tell you a story. Like when I lived back in Calgary, I knew somebody personally who basically bought a house for 600,000 in 2008, and then he sold it in 2022 for $600,000. And in his head, he was selling it at break even. But both you and I know, like 600,000 in 2022 is not what 600,000 would buy you in 2008. And I think this is the thing that a lot of people forget. Like, even if the housing market just trades sideways from now on, like inflation is still going to remain elevated. And like, yeah, it's come down a bit, but like the government's numbers are so I mean, even I saw with the inflation print that happened last week, like the carbon tax again came in and brought down the headline number. They take out anything that makes the number look bad, but anything that makes it look good, they're like, oh yeah, just keep that in there.
Now you have an economist cooking the books right at the top of the food chain. So like, how's that going to work?
So true. Yeah, the guy is a crook. I cannot believe that Canadians voted for a bankster. I was convinced, and I was totally wrong, because I guess I held on to like one string of hope that people would do the right thing. And I wasn't even thinking, like, I knew, just as you probably do, that the Conservatives, they're not going to be that different. They're maybe going to have a few more policies that you and I would agree with, but they're not going to be that much different because the power structures behind the scenes are exactly the same.
Just a few more years till they get to the corruption level that these guys are currently at. So we have like a little less corruption in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And the government is so big now. I sit here and think, like, is it even possible now? Like, is it even possible to even get any change when you have a government that is half of the economy? Like, so many people depend on the government in one shape or form. Like, if you're a private contractor and you have contracts with the government, you rely on government funding, you work for the government. It's 45% of the economy, and that needs to go down to like 10-15%. Yeah. How do you do it?
We have one of my viewers said, Mark Carney said his name is Dark Carnage. That's like, yeah, that's pretty good. But so then, well, all the supporters, sorry, I'll say everyone, I mean everyone, all the supporters of the Mark Carney and how great he was because he's a banker, right? Like you just said. So yeah, a banker. So a banker is like, yeah, they're going to take care of things and they know numbers and they're fiscally responsible. Like the banks are like the biggest borrowers of debt in the economy. What is a bank? Like, what does a bank do? So a bank takes your money and charges you fees. So we just elected a banker who's going to take our money and charge us fees. Like this is what a bank does. Like the Royal Bank is not like our friend. Like they don't come in and say, hey, how can I make you rich? Like they put messaging like that. And this is where the economists come. They have the messaging. And Scotiabank, you're richer than you think, right? It's like, no, Scotiabank is richer than you think because they're taking your money and charging you fees to hold on to it. And they don't even hold on to it. They just loan it to other people. Give me your money, Luke. I'm going to take it here. I'm going to loan it all out. I'm not even going to keep any. I'm not going to use that rule, that 10% reserve or whatever it is rule. I'm just going to loan it all out, and then I'm going to re-loan it out again. But you got to pay me at the same time for doing that, you know, for your petty cash or whatever, right? This is what the bank does. And everyone's like, yeah, we got a banker. And if you look at, go look at, anyone who hasn't watched Mary Poppins, right? Where remember where the kid was like with the tuppence or whatever? They like put it in the bank, in the fiduciary, you know, and they're like, no. And the kid goes running out because he knows he's never going to see the money again. He's going to go feed the birds with it. He wants to go feed the birds, right? So we're never going to see our money. We're never going to see anything again because we literally have the bank. The banker's going to steal everything we have.
Yeah. And they've already like stolen so much. Like I couldn't even believe it when I calculated it. I put it on X. I want to quote the exact number. Canadian dollar like has lost 32.4% to inflation since 2019, and that's the government's numbers. So all the money printing, all the that happened from 2019 to now is 32.4%. And that's the government's numbers. So they stole like a third from people. And really, it's more like half. And then you add in, you put it in real estate, John, and you lost 18%. Like,
well, here,
you
let
are
me give you a stat. Let me give you a stat about this. I just posted this. You can pull it up, put it on the video if you want. It's from yesterday. Last night I did this. I'm like, I know I got something in my head here, right? And I'm just like, this is what I want to know, right? It's the buyers who bought a home in Canada in the past 5 years.
Oh, yeah,
86% are underwater right now. Okay. Now this doesn't even include the inflation effects, right? So we know that it's even more if you factor in inflation, because this goes back to 2021, April 2021. This is right now the average price is 679,000. This is using CREA numbers too. Like, this is not, I just didn't make up this stuff. I quoted right on it. The numbers are, there was 2,060,000 home purchases, and this is just on CREA, so not including a lot of the new homes that aren't listed on MLS, but just from the MLS, from the CREA stats, 2,060,000 homes were purchased in the last 5 years on MLS that have been reported through CREA, and 1.777 million of those are underwater if you factor in not inflation. If you factor in inflation, they're all underwater most likely. So right now, if you paid $679, if you're going to sell your house, you got to pay 3 to 4% in fees, maybe 5% if you're in downtown Toronto, and you're paid land transfer tax, not including maintenance or upgrades on that home either. So this is like this is being very forgiving with just basic fees and taxes. 86% of people are underwater that bought a home in the last 5 years, and this is going with monthly data of all the homes that have sold on MLS. Less than 5% have some sort of value there, which probably not after factor in inflation, right? And home maintenance and repairs and upgrades and all the rest of that. And then break even is whatever 3.5% or so. And this is the reality, because prices they're lower now than they were. And this is not just for April. This is all months. This is all home sales. But if you look at just April, like April had the lowest sale price out of any April in the last 5 years, April 2025. So like by far, April 2021 was 692,000, and now we're at 679. So we're lower than 2021. So house prices have ultimately come down. We haven't seen a huge crash. We have from the peak, we've seen a big decline, but generally speaking, they're trickling down or dribbling down, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, like if you bought a home, and I did this month by month, there was like 8 months that you would have bought a home that you would have been above water right now. But every other month, because we're lower, like this is April data, and we're like lower than, when you factor in fees, we're lower than like almost all the months besides 8 of them. So yeah, there's like so many people that are just sitting ducks right now. And well, you're not going to lose money, right? Unless you have to sell, but they have paper losses, a lot of them. And this is the reality of the Canadian real estate market.
And the thing is, a lot of them may be forced to sell, because if they lose their job, like, they're screwed. Like, what are they going to do? And you keep seeing those power of sales tick up. I saw your post the other day, like, power of sales up again. And like, this is just going to continue, if not skyrocket, if all these jobs get lost. And the funny thing is, are you starting to see more power of sales in your neck of the woods now? Because like, I guess in that area is pretty hard hit, because it seems to be like Ontario and Alberta that are mainly getting hit.
So usually if I'm showing, and I go through my stages, sometimes I don't show a house all week, which is a great week for me, actually. But, and then other times, like I'm showing houses, whatever. Like, nobody wants to work that hard, right? I'm like, I guess I am Canadian now. I don't want to work, but I got to get a government job, maybe. Do they have a real estate job for government?
Probably. There's probably thousands.
But if I'm showing a group of houses, whether it's 5 or 10, like, I'm almost guaranteed to see a power of sale in there these days. And I'm like very versed with power of sales. The last cycle, I sold a bunch of them, so I know the process. So I'm like, I'm so proud. Like, okay, this is how it worked. So, so it's like, I got experience in this market. But yeah, you're seeing these, and what you're seeing now is you're seeing more from the big banks and the big lenders. You saw initially, and I don't have the ratio. I want to do the ratio again, but the ratio would be like, it was like 25%. Now it's 30. So it doesn't look that extreme, but it's getting more. So you're seeing more from the big banks, and there's like 10 or something big banks now in Canada, right? Not the big 5 or 6, but the big ones. So yeah, you're seeing more from them when I'm looking, because when I look at the power of sales, I pick them from my data. I have to go through all the owners for these, and I just browse through them, but you see like all the big banks banks just lined up now. They used to have like 3 or 4 in a row. Now there's like 10 or 12 from each bank. So,
Wow.
and now that's gonna hit the mortgage arrears data also. And of course, someone just predicted we're gonna see mortgage arrears rise. Like I think it was the Bank of Canada, right? Said that. Well,
Mhm.
obviously, I predicted that like what, 2 years ago. Like this is
Yeah.
like basic like statistical analysis. Like you look at a chart and you compare it to like last time or other financial downturns. Like you'll see mortgage arrears rise, unemployment rises. Like this is like basic crap. And but we have to pay this Bank of Canada, this central bank, to come out with some report that states the obvious, that little John Flynn here with like no degree can figure this out on my laptop in my basement. Like what's wrong with
I
these
know.
people? Like
Even
and that,
we could figure out a federal budget by just using ChatGPT.
oh yeah, if I did the federal budget, I'd be like that Argentinian president. Like I'd be ripping that
Millet.
department's gone, this department's gone. Like just like I'd be hated. Like people would be rioting in the streets, and that's what the government knows it. Like they start chopping services, and there's gonna be people protesting, and they don't want that kind of protesting, right?
No,
They don't
no.
want that'll be like the freedom convoy, but it's going to be their own people this time. So
Yeah, exactly. They've got nowhere to hide if it's their own
yeah,
people. They're not going to have people.
the freedom convoy, but now all the participants are government employees.
Yeah. Oh man, I could hope to see that day. We'll all be there
Yeah.
filming them. But yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. And mortgage arrears are going to rise. And the funny thing is that kind of goes with the data that I've seen on the Bank of Canada's website, which is showing like lending is slowing down. They don't actually categorize it, like they categorized it as mortgage lending and they group it into a bucket with a bunch of other things. So you can never exactly tell if it's mortgage lending that is slowing, but lending as a whole is definitely slowing. And new business lending, I mean, that started came back in January when the tariffs and all that stuff kicked off. Like the banks were like, holy shit, we don't want to lend. We don't want to lend to any businesses. And I think that's going to have a real negative impact on the economy moving forward.
And it's negative impact short term, but long term, I think that's a positive impact because people do borrow too much. Don't lend. Like if you don't need, like everyone's just like, well, I'm just going to start a business and take a loan. Like there's other ways to start businesses. Okay, not a big, huge corporation, but like most businesses are small businesses in Canada. Like you can
Mhm.
start it without going in and getting a loan. You can
Yeah.
buy a house. Like I'm actually going to do a chart to show, and again, I could be wrong on it, but I'm guessing there's probably a sweet spot where you can actually save your money up to a certain point and then go get a mortgage. Don't just go get a mortgage with 5% down just to get in the housing market. Like save up like 200 grand and buy a friggin' $500,000 house or whatever, right? Like this is what you should be doing. But most people save up 200 grand and they buy $1 million home. Like they're always maximizing. And I just saw some chart on that too. Like 65% of first time buyers or something maximize their allowable loan amount when they're buying a house. So that like
Jeez.
more than
Yes, I
half
saw
just
you
want to
post
max it
that.
out. They just want to max that out, and it's like, no, don't max it out. The best clients I had, and they spent like 430 or something on a house, and they had like 200 and something $1,000 down. Like, and it was like, nobody does this. First time buyers, and these
No.
people were not rich. They didn't get it from their parents. They saved it up. They worked hard. They saved it up. And you know what? Those people are going to be ahead. If they could have bought 5 years sooner, especially these days, right? You would have been paying more 5 years ago, but you could have bought 5 years sooner and had a mortgage, and they would not be where they're at with equity in their house. And of course, they would have paid a lot more interest to the bank. If they had less down payment. So save up. Like who cares? Keep saving. Don't worry about getting in the housing market. If you're saving cash, save it up. Put as much cash
Yeah.
as you can. And that's the way. Like nobody wants to do that though, because they just want to get in and leverage. And if I get in now, like the house is gonna go up 200 grand. I can't save cash that quick. Well, it's not the case. That's not normal. What we just saw in this run up, like that was not a normal scenario. Usually you can save cash and you should be able to make a return on that cash better than the housing market increases. Now you will be for sure for the next like
Hmm.
decade or so. So yeah, save your cash and just buy when you have like I wish you could just buy the whole thing with cash. Like I had a
Yeah.
friend
Yeah.
when I started real estate, he worked for 4 years. I think it was four. It could have been two, but I think it was 4 years. And just before he became a realtor in 2004 with me, he saved up 4 years, working construction, 10 hours a day, bought a house cash after four
Wow.
years. And it was, it was $80,000
Kudos
or
to him.
$85,000. And it was not a bad little house, like a nice little starter house. So
Yeah.
like nobody would ever, like, you could never imagine like someone giving that advice now, like, okay, save up the cash and just buy it with cash. Cash is a lot easier to come by now, right? Because there's so much more of it out there. So
Mhm.
it seems insane, but you can save up and buy a house cash. Like, it's not impossible. So I again, maximize your down payment, right? Like, just keep saving, especially when prices are going down. Like you're like
Yeah.
beating the curve like big time, right? So
Yeah.
that's what and even with businesses, like I was just like, well, you can go and get used equipment for your business, like now, especially now
It's
with all these
true.
other businesses going under. So like you got
Yeah.
to be resourceful instead of just like, I'm just a business owner corporation. We're just going to buy this and get a loan for this. And no, like be resourceful. And that's the problem with people aren't resourceful anymore.
Well, yeah, like how much more would have your boat cost back in the 2021 bubble? Like, would it be 50% more expensive, 60%? It's got to be
It
an insane amount.
it's got to be, well, even if it was 25% more, it's still like it would have been more. Like it's
Hmm.
I don't know, I don't know the price of that boat back then because I wasn't watching them, but yeah,
Hmm.
it would have been more expensive. Again, that was a bubble, just like everything. It was in a huge asset bubble: cars, boats, everything. I mean,
RVs. Yeah.
look at all the RVs for sale. Like now it's turned to, I gotta sell this damn thing. Like you're like, I gotta get one. I'm buying one because everyone else is buying one. Now people are like, I man, and you know what else has happened? The cost of going to these like campsites and trailer parks to like on a
Oh, it's
vacation is like
exploded.
insane. You have
Yeah.
to compete with all these people. So like now it's just like, so now these things are becoming worthless. And so an RV that was 40 grand, you could probably get that thing for like 20, 25 grand right now. Like
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yeah,
and
that's
yeah,
true.
like mine, I got my boat, the other, like it's a dinghy, it's a premium dinghy, right, for my big boat, but I got it for 45% of the cost 2 years ago of the new cost, right?
Wow.
So
It's
45%,
crazy.
not 45% off, like, so 55% off, so 45% of the actual original MSRP I got it for, because whatever, someone went bankrupt or didn't make their payment or whatever. So, and that's where it comes, like when tough times hit, it's like sell what you can, right? Not what you want to.
Yeah.
You sell what you can, and sometimes you can't sell them, and the repo guy comes and takes it. But yeah, like, and that's just where. But this is where it all goes back to the greed. The reason people were buying all the RVs is because it was greed, or it was like looking at your neighbor, coveting their goods, whatever it is. I'm not even a religious person, but there's all these things come into play, right? And
Hmm.
they're like, well, my neighbor's got one, and or I'm going to buy one because they keep going up. I'll never be able to get one. I don't want one, but if I don't buy one now, I'll never be able to afford it. So I'm going to buy one anyway. It's just like,
Yeah. Finance over 30 years.
yeah. And it's the thing, like now anything I buy is like, I have one payment in my life, but anything is like cash. Like if I can't afford it, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah.
it. I'll go on someone else's boat, or I'll, go for a ride in someone else's car or whatever. Go look at the cars at cruise night. But
It's living within
yeah,
your means, what people don't do anymore.
we spend a lot of our like our time with financial conversations in my family, between me and my wife. All right, we're not using this subscription, and it's like an ongoing thing. It's like you can't just clear it out in one day. Okay, you're not using this, you're not using Duolingo, you're not using Audible or whatever. Like, it's
Hmm.
cut it out, right?
Yeah.
Netflix, whatever. We go on the thing, we go on the cycle. Like, we're not having all these services. We're going to have this one or this one, and
Yeah.
it's not because I want to be cheap. It's just because I'm not a fool. Like, why give,
Yeah.
like, that's what they want. What they want, you just signed up for all these things and you got like 100 things, and now you're just like, you won't be able to buy anything. And this is what they want. They want, now I can't save to buy something cash, because once I do it, that's a one-time deal. They don't want that. They made,
Mm.
how hard it is to service a one-time deal as opposed to an ongoing subscription. And this is why subscriptions are so profitable and so widely used now. So yeah,
Mhm.
subscriptions are like the big evil in this world. You gotta watch out for them, and you got to stay on top of them.
Yeah.
The only thing that the last government said properly was Chrystia Freeland. The only thing she ever said that I liked was cancel your Netflix subscription. Like it was, and I feel bad for Netflix because it's not just Netflix. She was just using that as the thing, right? But Netflix is probably the only one I actually have right now. It's the $7.99 one with the freaking commercials in it.
Doesn't she? And she's now the transport minister, but doesn't own a car.
Yeah, she doesn't own a car. She got a speeding ticket in Calgary.
Oh yeah,
and,
I remember
that. She's the transport minister, and the roads are just like a mess in Ontario. Like they're a mess, literally and figuratively, when you're talking about traffic. I did a video about how much garbage there was, and I swear to God, 2 weeks later, I've never seen it before. They were out there. They had contractors out there cleaning up with garbage bags, and they leave all the garbage bags lined up for the next person, the next truck to come pick up. And I told my wife, I go, look, I've never seen this happen, and there's like garbage bags everywhere. Why? Because I spoke up and I said something. Right? And the video got out. I talked to the guy in the MTO too. I talked to people, and I made the video, and it reached the right people, and they were out cleaning it up, and I felt good. Like, I don't know, I'm guessing I had some influence. I don't know if it was just because of what I did or my video, but creating awareness, and everyone agreed. They said, I see more garbage everywhere. I put out a thing yesterday about why do I see so many more lawns that are uncared for, uncut, weeds growing everywhere, rampant, right? And everyone's like, and the responses are hilarious, right? And I know why. I know exactly why there are, but there was, people were saying it's no mow May for the bees or whatever, and it's like, no, people, most people don't care. Like the odd person might, but most people want to, they like taking care of their lawn. But we're seeing the demographics change and all these kinds of things, and you're just seeing like and people maybe are working too much, or they can't afford lawn care. I don't know. You don't really have to afford lawn care. You can buy an electric lawnmower for $150. Create awareness, and and that's it. But people are scared to be, well, I don't want to say that because you might think I'm racist or whatever. Like, why? Because I said there's weeds on the lawns or whatever. Like, the chances are, like someone from your country is probably going to take care of their lawn better than someone, say, from Africa, because they don't have lawns, right? Like, they're not used to taking care of it. So it's not racist. It's just a fact. Like, and these people these people who are not taking care of their lawns, by the way, are not African people. I'm just using them because they're not the people. But again, this is, and they could be tenants. They could not be any culture, right? It could be, there's a multitude of reasons why. So, but yeah, creating awareness and living the Canadian dream, right? And the Canadian dream is mowing your lawn and driving your gas guzzling car on a road that you can actually drive down that's not chock-a-blocked with a bunch of other people.
Well, listen, John, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Do you have any final words of wisdom that you want to share?
I think honestly, I'm on this theme lately. It's like, save your cash. Don't go on a subscription plan. And real estate is just another subscription plan these days. Save as much as you can. Prices aren't going up. Put as much as you can down. Like, and that's what I got to say. I'm probably going to put a chart showing how much that will benefit you. Instead of paying interest to a bank for the next couple of years, pay it to yourself and just create a bigger down payment. And that's my advice now. Pay cash, forget a subscription for anything, not just real estate. Just, don't fall for that scam. That's the new scam these days.
Well, listen, John, thank you so much for coming on, and check out John on his YouTube channel. By the time this video comes out, he'll probably be at 30,000 subscribers. I see he's like 29.9. He'll probably be there. And check him out also on X. All the links will be in the description. I want to give a shout out to Kinster. Scan the QR code on screen or visit the links in the description and the pinned comment to learn more.